In Crime Watch, a man is dead after an officer-involved shooting in Carson City. This happened following a domestic dispute. KOLO 8 News Now's Emily Benito joins us live here in studio and with what the sheriff is revealing today.
Sheriff Ken Furlong says that deputies shot and killed the suspect after he reportedly barricaded himself in a vehicle. And this was a similar situation to one 10 years ago, where Carson City Deputy Carl Howell was fatally shot while responding to a domestic violence call.
Sadly, domestic violence terrorizes our country.
A man was shot and killed at around 12:17 a.m. following a domestic dispute in Carson City. Sheriff Ken Furlong says that the incident started in the afternoon as a call from a neighbor concerned about a domestic dispute on the 4300 block of Old Clear Creek Road. The dispute was said to be between a man and his girlfriend. Deputies found that the suspect sent text messages to neighbors saying if law enforcement engaged him, he would, quote, shoot it out. Furlong says that deputies arrived and began their investigation about an hour before the suspect came back to the property and opened fire.
There was an immediate exchange of gunfire as the officers approached the suspect.
He then barricaded himself in his vehicle where deputies tried to negotiate with him.
The suspect refused to acknowledge any of the officers' negotiations tactics.
When the suspect did exit his vehicle, investigators say that he had a handgun and fired on law enforcement, and deputies responded. Sheriff Furlong says that domestic disputes are the most dangerous for law enforcement to respond to.
Domestic disputes present of the most volatile calls for service and dangerous calls for services that officers respond to. They're very often, in those cases that hit the extreme, the officers are ambushed either at the scene or on their way to the scene.
Now we look to what comes next.
Initially, I gave the order for all of them to be placed on administrative leave for an initial 3 days.
Including the emotional toll this takes on sergeants, deputies, and the families involved.
We will provide services for those officers, mental health crisis services. We did last night. That will apply as well to the families.
Nevada State Investigations Division has taken over the criminal investigation, while the Carson City Sheriff's Office conducts its own internal investigation into the case. In studio, Emily Benito, KOLO 8 News Now.